Ooh, this is a good one. Ano sa tingin nyo?
As we can see in the clip, si Kitty Duterte, she's trying to manipulate the narrative tungkol sa pag-aresto ng tatay niyang former president. The way she frames the events, halatang designed to persuade their supporters into action, mostly by steering emotions.
I agree. And kita nyo kung gaano kabilis kumalat ang ganitong narrative. The way it's framed doesn't just shape how people see the situation. It also affects kung mararamdaman ba nila na may magagawa sila o wala. If you keep hearing the quote, victim siya ng political persecution, chances are people will react emotionally instead of critically analyzing the legal process.
Tama, this is how media reinforces dominant social orders. Sila yung nagdidikta kung ano ang dapat pag-usapan, and more importantly, kung ano ang hindi. Kapag isang side lang ng kwento ang palaging pinupush, public debate gets limited, and nawawala yung space for real political engagement.
And that's also how the killing of agency happens. Akala natin we're actively participating. Pero sa totoo lang, preconditioned na yung reactions ng karamihan. It's not just about controlling the narrative. It's about making sure the audience only sees a limited set of choices, making them passive instead of critically engaged. So ito, something to reflect on. Do we critically evaluate the narratives presented to us or tinatanggap lang natin to ng walang question? Another question to everyone. Stay locked in. Lastly, let's examine social institutions. Yung mga structures na nagpapatibay sa dominant social order at nag-iimpluwensya sa mga political perspectives ng mga tao. These institutions don't just exist. They actively shape our beliefs, values, and understanding of power.
Social institutions, which consist of media, schools, at religious organizations, hindi lang sila simpleng bahagi ng society. They are the main vehicles for reinforcing political ideologies and keeping existing power structures in place.
Think about it. Media giants decide kung ano nga bang mga stories ang magiging viral at alin ang mga hindi natin maririnig. School curricula dictate kung paano natin naiintindihan ng history. Religious institutions influence moral and political standpoints. Hindi lang sila basta nagbibigay ng impormasyon. They control the flow of information and dahil doon, they shape public perception and even election outcomes.
Kaya nga gustong kontrolin ng mga nasa kapangyarihan ng mga ito. A government that controls the media controls the public discourse. A government that controls education controls how history is remembered. A government that influences religion can use moral narratives to push political agendas. These institutions aren't just passive structures, they are battlegrounds.
Alright, great points. Let's now dive deeper into this. Check out this last clip.
Ako'y nakikiusap sa mga Manila Police at sa buong NCR Police na huwag kaming galawin dito. Dahil hindi naman kami pumunta dito para makipag-away. Kami lang ay nanawagan sa Marcos Rizal dahil sobra na lang itong ginawa sa Davao.
This is a very critical topic. Paano nga ba nakaka-impluwensya ang social institutions, specifically religious organizations, sa mga political perspectives natin?
Religious organizations can sway political opinions lalo na kapag nag-endorso sila ng candidates o di kaya policies. This kind of influence shapes the political landscape more than we realize.
Exactly. And minsan, yung mga members ng religious groups, they get blinded by promises and empty claims ng mga politicians. Nakakalungkot lang kasi hindi lang political perception ang naapektuhan, pati na rin yung moral principles ng isang tao.
On the other hand, may isa pang malaking social institution, ang education system. Pansinin natin kung paano pinapakita ang history sa textbooks. Minsan, historical narratives are framed in a way na mas pabor sa certain political ideologies. Kaya nagkakaroon ng bias sa kung paano natin maintindihan ang governance.
Tama. At syempre, andyan din ang media. They decide kung anong stories ang bibigyan ng spotlight at alin ang hindi. That alone shapes public discourse and influences political dynamics in ways na hindi agad napapansin ng karamihan.
Solid points, guys. So here's something to reflect on. Are we critically assessing the information na binibigay ng social institutions Or tinatanggap na lang natin to ng walang pagdududa? We'd love to hear your thoughts, guys. Stay focused. So ayun guys, today we've explored kung paano nag-i-intertwine ang pop culture, dominant social orders at social institutions sa pag-shape ng political perspectives natin. Pero ang tanong, ano na ang next step natin?
Una, matuto tayong magtanong. Kahit anong information mula sa media, educational materials, o religious teachings, dapat lagi tayong critical sa pagproseso nito.
Pangalawa, alamin kung sino ang makikinabang sa mga dominant narratives. Minsan, kung sino ang may control sa kwento, sila rin ang may hawak ng power.
At pangatlo, maging mapanuri sa political branding. Tandaan natin na hindi porket magaling sa image building ang isang politician, ibig sabihin effective na rin silang leader.
And finally, sa tingin nyo, does pop culture help or harm our political awareness? Drop your thoughts. We're expecting highly of you guys, alright? See you then.